From spaceships going deep into outer space, from Jedi Knights fighting one another, to Elon Musk building a rocket and heading for Mars, Donald Trump starting something called the Space Force. Here's my journey to why I became passionate over astronomy. I just want to let you guys know this because I know you guys know that I love astronomy. I am getting a master's in astronomy and I want to share that passion with other people, and I want to help other people understand the stars. I specifically want to help kids who I think are the next generation. We need to lay the foundation for them, and they're going to keep building on that foundation generation after generation until we're able to go out and conquer space and land on Mars, land on the moon, have colonies there, move over to Jupiter's moons, Saturn's moons, maybe even land on Pluto, and just keep building out. And maybe one day even have Venus. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I think it's very possible. It would just be a lot harder than especially Mars. So today, I just want to give kind of a quick story. It's not going to be a very long video. It's going to be more of a quick story over what brought me to have an interest in the stars and astronomy, because I'm mostly interested in the beginning and the end of the Earth or the universe. That's my primary focus, at least in college. But before I get into it, guys, if you like the videos that I do, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. You liking and subscribing is the best way to support the videos that I make, and it ensures that I am able to continue to make videos like this for you guys. Let's push for 1,000 followers. All right, I won't lie to you guys, my passion for astronomy did not start until I was in college the first time. That was in 2010. I had just became a Catholic in 2008. I was confirmed into the church when I was 18, or actually it was 2009. Yeah, it was 2009 because I turned 18 in 2008 in August, and then September is when I first started going to a Catholic church consistently. And then in 2009, I was confirmed on Easter Sunday and went through all that. That was a fun experience, which is very important to the story, actually. Me being Catholic is very important to this. As a Catholic, I lived in an area in the world, in the US, that did not like Catholics very much. My mom, she was a Christian who didn't care. She said she's going to live her life how she wants to, and if she dies and goes to hell, she doesn't care. But she wasn't a Catholic, she was a Protestant. They went to a Pentecostal church when she was younger with her mom, my grandma, and her aunts. And for all y'all who don't know what kind of Pentecostal church, she went to ones that I promise you, if you're Catholic and you go to, probably scare you because people do strange things there. And I remember one of my Catholic friends was telling me that she had went to a Pentecostal funeral and she got scared because people were just, I don't know what they were doing. I don't typically go to funerals, but Pentecostal churches, a lot of them get loud, they start dancing, they start shaking and all this other stuff. For Catholics, that might be a little different, so some of you might get scared. But that's the kind of church my mom grew up in. She didn't care when she turned 18 or whatever and she got out. My stepdad, who was an atheist, he didn't believe in anything. I grew up going to a Baptist church most of my life, and then sometimes I'd go to the Church of Christ with my stepdad's mom husband. So sometimes I'd go there with him. But things changed when I turned 18 and I went to a Catholic. The first time I went to a Catholic church was before I was 18. I was 17. It was in June of 2008. And I went once and didn't go back. Turned 18 in August, and in September I went again on a Friday, and they invited me to come on a Sunday. I went that Sunday and I loved it, and I just never stopped. That's important because as I was becoming Catholic in that area, I knew I would have to defend my faith. I was constantly having preachers come over. I was still going to a Baptist church sometimes. I was still going to a Pentecostal type church. It's not really Pentecostal. It's a fundamentalist, but not really Pentecostal. But it was at that kind of church. And I knew I was going to have to defend myself because I was very honest with them. I told them straight up that I was becoming Catholic, or I was considering becoming Catholic. And that's important because that developed this thing in my brain where I needed to be able to defend what I believe. If I'm wrong, I need to be able to see how I'm wrong. Fast forward, I go to college. I go to a Southern Baptist college. And at a Southern Baptist college, everybody is a Southern Baptist. Or not everybody, but most people are Southern Baptist, or at least a Protestant Christian. I went there on purpose because I wanted to be able to argue with people. I wanted to be able to debate people, not really argue, but debate people about why I'm Catholic. And it challenged me to look up my faith, to grow deeper in my faith. And I started listening to Catholic Answers, and I started listening to Church Militant, and I started listening to a lot of different Catholic spokespeople and a lot of different debates from the get-go. It was just constant. I was listening to all of it. Well, as I was listening to Catholic Answers, there was a guy named Tim Staples, and this is where the seed started. He had made a video about the beginning of the universe and how it started at the Big Bang, and that it was actually a Catholic priest that came up with the Big Bang. He's the one that founded this idea that the universe was at one point small and then it exploded outward. And from there, that's when it really started, because I realized that I didn't have to just defend my faith against other Christians. I needed to be able to defend my faith against atheists as well. And I took an astronomy class my second semester, which was odd. They said that it would be extremely hard to get an astronomy class your first year because everybody wants astronomy. I ended up getting one of the last two seats. But the guy was Catholic. The guy teaching the astronomy class, I think his name was Newman, Professor Newman, and his daughter, she was very Catholic too. He always had to argue with some of these really fundamentalist Christians who believed the earth was only 10,000 years old. He had to argue with them sometimes. God love him. It couldn't have been easy on him. He also kind of sparked an interest in astronomy, because I'm like, oh wow, this Catholic, great Christian, his family is an amazing Christian family, which built up on that. Then I started listening to Christian and atheist debates. That's when things really started to change. Now, I had an old iPod that I had filled with nothing but debates and talks. I had hundreds of debates and talks. I'd fall asleep listening to them. There's a guy named William Lane Craig that I listened to. John Lennox, he's a professor. And there was someone else, I don't remember who it was, but those two very good at when they would debate atheists. They typically did a really good job at debating atheists. And a common thing I heard was not only the beginning of the universe, but then also how everything seems to be so, I don't want to say fine-tuned, but that's pretty much what they used. That if any kind of natural law was just a little bit different, it could mess up everything. And that really built on my love for astronomy. So, I'd already started building on it because I found out Catholics they love astronomy. There's a Catholic priest that came up with this Big Bang idea, and then I built upon it more as I was trying to defend myself against atheists. I built it up more as I was listening to more and more people, scholars, debate each other, atheists and Christian, debate each other, and this topic kept coming up, and I never really got a good answer. I never really heard a good answer from an atheist about some of the things that the Christian brought up. So you fast forward a little bit more. I graduate college with a bachelor's in psychology and criminal justice, and I go to Franciscan University for a semester because I started to get my master's in counseling, but I decided I didn't like it. And then I started to read on some of the stuff the popes have said, and I started to read on people like St. Thomas Aquinas while I was at Franciscan University, and it just deepened it even more. I saw so much beauty in the universe that connected so much with my faith that I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. But I stopped after that. I stopped for a few years. I didn't think about it much. Every now and then I would see a video from Neil Tyson that I thought was nice. I thought it was cool. Or I'd see a debate because, I wasn't really debating people anymore because I was no longer in the hostile environment. Then in 2017, I hear of this thing called the Space Force. The people who worked in the Space Force were called Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what I thought of. And around that time, I also started watching Star Wars. I started getting interested in the prequels of Star Wars. That's where things really started to change. I envisioned that humanity, maybe not as much as Star Wars, but that we could do great things in the universe. I saw that when I watched those movies. I saw that when I heard of the Space Force. And then Tesla, SpaceX, Elon Musk, just out of the blue, started hearing about how he sends one of his cars up into space. The guy is a genius, a private company being able to do that. And that's when it changed. That's when I finally said, if I get out of the military, I'm going to use my GI Bill and get a bachelor's in astronomy. As I was in the military, that passion just grew more and more and more and more. Finally, I got out in October of 2023. I was homeless for a while. I was actually homeless until June of 2024, but I started college in January of 2024. I got a lot of help from places that help vets have a place to stay until they get on their feet. And I was able to do that, and everything changed. That January, at first I only took 2 classes a month. Then I found out I could take 4. I was taking 4 classes. I finished my bachelor's in astronomy in 1 year and 3 months, and I started working on my master's. And you all know the rest. Here I am taking 4 classes a month right now. That's a lot of schoolwork for a master's, but I love it, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, and I want to do it until I get my master's. And then I want to try to become a professor, at least to teach as an adjunct professor, or do something with observatories, and while I'm working on getting a PhD so I can become a full-time professor. That's my dream job, is to be a full-time professor. There you go, guys. That's it. That's my story. My passion in astronomy started because of my passion in philosophy and theology. It all started there. So guys, let me know, are y'all interested in astronomy? Do you have a passion that could lead you to astronomy? Just let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys. Leave it in a comment below. Maybe share this video with someone who's considering going to college for astronomy or something fun and interesting like that. Send them this video and have them talk to me. I can give them advice. I give them as much advice as I can. All right, guys. It was nice talking to you. I hope y'all have a great day. Know that all of you are valuable and that all of you matter. God bless. Peace.